So, did you serve in the military after August 2nd, 1990, or maybe during the post-9/11 era? If so, you might have brought an invisible enemy home with you. Many service members were exposed to burn pits, toxic chemicals, dust, and smoke during their deployments, hazards that literally didn't show their true impact until years later. If you're part of this specific veteran demographic, there's a massive update to your benefits that you absolutely need to understand.
Welcome to this explainer. Look, the PACT Act is arguably the biggest expansion of veteran benefits we've seen in generations. But right now, there is just a lot of noise and misinformation out there regarding these benefits. So we're going to cut through that and look directly at the facts. We'll uncover exactly who qualifies, what conditions are actually covered, and how you can navigate this whole system effectively.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our clear roadmap for today. First, the PACT Act explained. Second, qualifying locations and dates. Third, presumptive medical conditions. Fourth, breaking down the compensation. And finally, action steps and warnings.
Starting off with Section 1, the PACT Act explained, understanding the law. Officially signed into law back on August 10, 2022, the PACT Act was a historic turning point. Now, what's really interesting here is the concept of a presumptive condition. This fundamentally changes the claims process. Normally, when you file a VA disability claim, the heavy burden is on you to prove that your current medical condition is directly connected to your time in service. But the PACT Act completely flips the script. If you are in the right place at the right time, the VA simply presumes your exposure occurred. It removes that massive burden of establishing a direct medical connection. Now, I want to carefully bust a myth right here, though. This does not mean automatic approval for everyone. You still have to meet the applicable requirements, and your specific medical condition must fall within the rules. But man, it removes a decades-old hurdle for qualifying veterans.
Moving on to Section 2, qualifying locations and dates. Where and when you served.
To get this presumption of toxic exposure, you have to meet some pretty strict geographic and chronological guidelines. For folks serving on or after August 2nd, 1990, qualifying locations include Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, and the United Arab Emirates. But for post-9/11 veterans serving on or after September 11, 2001, the list expands. It includes Afghanistan, Djibouti, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Uzbekistan, and Yemen. And this is a crucial detail. The airspace above these regions is also included for the post-9/11 group.
We have to be strictly objective here to save you some time and frustration down the road. Simply serving after 1990 does not automatically qualify you for every benefit. Your exact location, your precise dates of service, the type of service you performed, and your discharge status, all of these actively affect your eligibility. You really can't just assume you're eligible, or ineligible for that matter, based on a date alone. You absolutely have to check the actual VA requirements against your own personal military records.
Section 3. Presumptive medical conditions. What illnesses are covered?
The VA now recognizes over 20 specific conditions under this presumption, starting with some incredibly severe cancers. The list includes brain cancer, gastrointestinal and kidney cancers, lymphoma, melanoma, pancreatic cancer, and both reproductive and respiratory cancers. And honestly, this is deeply impactful. For years, veterans fought these devastating battles at home, just assuming they could never prove a connection to their deployment. The PACT Act finally acknowledges that these diseases are often the delayed casualties of toxic exposure, providing some seriously long overdue recognition.
But it's not just cancers. The law also covers a range of severe, debilitating respiratory issues. We're talking about asthma that was diagnosed after your service, chronic bronchitis, COPD, chronic rhinitis, sinusitis, emphysema, and conditions like sarcoidosis and pulmonary fibrosis. These conditions are linked directly to inhaling the dangerous smoke and particulate matter from those massive burning, wasting chemical pits during operations, particularly in places like Iraq and Afghanistan.
Let's move to and see how this builds in Section 4, breaking down the compensation, exactly how VA disability pay works. Because understanding the medical side is only half the battle, right? The other half is understanding the financial reality. There is no flat one-size-fits-all PACT Act payment. Compensation actually operates on a sliding scale based on the severity of your disability. Just looking at the upcoming 2026 baseline rates for a veteran with no dependents, a 10% rating provides a modest monthly sum of about $180, while a 100% rating can provide nearly $4,000 a month. The big takeaway here? Your exact rating dictates your financial support, and if you have qualifying dependents, those numbers can be even higher. So the crucial point is, well, let's put it into perspective.
Imagine a veteran who served in Iraq and develops a covered condition that results in a 50% rating. Under the 2026 rates, that veteran would receive over $13,000 completely tax-free every single year. But remember, this is just a hypothetical example to show you the potential impact. It's not an automatic calculation for everyone who gets a specific illness. The VA strictly determines the final criteria based on how severe your specific condition is.
And that brings us to the whole topic of back pay. We need to objectively bust a massive myth right now. There is absolutely no rule stating that every single PACT Act claim automatically gets years of retroactive back pay. While an award can include retroactive compensation, it entirely depends on the effective date assigned to your specific claim by the VA. However, and this is important, if you filed a claim previously and it was denied, do not assume that old decision is final. Because of these new presumptive rules, you are highly encouraged to explore filing a supplemental claim, since the expanded laws might actually change the outcome of that past denial.
Section 5. Action steps and warnings. Basically, what you should do next.
All right, here is your 4-step action plan. Step 1. Pull your military records to prove exactly where and when you served. Step 2. Check official VA sources, please not social media, for the current presumptive list. Step 3. Cross-reference that official list with your own personal medical history. And Step 4. If the puzzle pieces fit, file that claim or appeal a past denial. Knowing the law is great, but taking these actual steps is what empowers you to finally take control of your benefits journey.
Now, I need to give you a very stern warning. The expansion of these benefits has unfortunately brought out a lot of scammers. Never, ever give your VA login credentials, your social security number, or your bank information to anyone promising you guaranteed VA money. Let me be perfectly clear. No legitimate person or organization can guarantee that the VA will approve your claim, nor can they guarantee a specific disability rating. Also, keep in mind that VA disability compensation is entirely separate from Social Security retirement benefits or your military retirement pension. Each of those programs operates under its own distinct rules.
So whenever you see a flashy headline or hear someone claiming the VA is just handing out money, stop and ask yourself, which specific benefit are they talking about? What exact eligibility rule applies? Which precise medical condition is covered? And what is the effective date? Asking these 4 questions will help you separate the legitimate information from the exaggerated claims. Don't rely on rumors. Take charge of your benefits. The PACT Act is a massive victory for sure, but it begs a bigger, more provocative question. What other life-changing benefits might be hidden in your military medical file, just waiting to be uncovered?